We were pretty famous back in high school.
Trust us. Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous. Why?
I'm a gentleman. I always wait until the other party involved's finished.
I see. Like eating? You won't take
anything.
You make sure you take the last bite?
No, I just don't get up and leave before they've finished.
Is that a gentlemanly?
Mm-hmm.
You make sure not to skip out on the bill before they're done eating. You wait for them to finish, then you say you have to use the restroom, and then
yep, I excuse myself.
Yeah,
I go wipe up, and then
freshen up.
I mean, everybody words it differently.
Yeah. Okay, so when you go into the bathroom, I'm assuming you're not actually quote wiping up, but if you were, what would you be wiping?
Everything.
With? Do you have a
towel?
Do you
have towels?
I don't know if you have. Well, maybe you carry in your
soap and water.
Maybe you carry in your man purse some moist towelettes.
It's a messenger bag.
It's a big
or a crossbody bag.
Okay,
those are the two I choose.
Those are two things I call it.
Sometimes a backpack, depending on what mode of transportation I'm using.
Okay, so then you'd have plenty of room for a lot of freshening up, wiping up supplies.
I would have room for them, whether or not I would
have them,
bring them.
Oh, I see. They're not just always there in the bags?
No.
What kind of bag man are you then?
I'm not.
You're
giving me that title.
Those are things that should be constantly in the bags or bag, whatever you're taking. You should have in one compartment. There's always a good amount of tissues or napkins or moist towelettes or something. If this is something you regularly do when you are eating with others.
Well, I'm a gentleman, so
that doesn't. Okay, what does that explain?
That means I do constantly do it because I'm a gentleman.
Okay,
I constantly clean myself up.
Gotcha.
After I've allowed the other party to finish.
Exactly. Right.
Then I clean myself up.
By wiping.
By wiping.
Yeah.
Or, spritzing or whatever, or, blow drying, whatever means I need to,
okay,
make sure that I'm cleaned up at the end.
All right. And then do you take part in making sure that the other party is also cleaned up in any way?
No, I'm a feminist. I think I always believe that they can do for themselves.
Okay. So you're trying to display a level of chivalry in a sense, or gentlemanliness by making sure you yourself are cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
Does feminism and chivalry, do they go together, or do they kind of oppose one another?
They're bitter enemies. They've been feuding for years. I mean, I think they can still coexist.
I've never seen two non-living things hate more than those two do.
Right. Mm.
Okay. So, when was the last time you let someone else finish first and then you cleaned up?
I mean, minutes.
I didn't ask how long the process took. I asked how long ago. Okay.
It's been minutes.
Minutes ago. So that's why you were just slightly late to today's recording?
I'm never late. I'm always I always arrive precisely when I mean to.
Right, but when you base it on the time suggested, then I would say it was late.
Well, I mean, if we're going to be fair, you still got on after I did.
True, but you're the one who starts this session and sends me the code, so it's impossible for me to be on before you are.
I mean, I think just once it'd be nice if you showed up on time.
Well,
at the scheduled time.
That is,
whether I'm there yet or not.
Well,
it'd be great.
I was in my room at my computer, standing here waiting for the link to come through. But again, the only account we can log into is the one that you would use. And so if I was already logged in, that would create a problem.
A paradox of sorts.
Correct. Like, oh, there's two Matts. Or two high school famouses, I guess. Is
somehow we're doing, we somehow record 2 episodes at the same time.
That would be awesome,
and
actually.
They're incredibly different.
They're very different.
Weirdly.
I don't know if this is some new beta software that Squadcast is trying out, but I'm in favor of it.
I'm only for alpha software.
The episodes recorded simultaneously, yes. Very different. Coherent, good, tolerable, decipherable, not so much. So is it worth the suffering of quality just to produce double the quantity for the same efforts? What do you think? I don't know.
I think we just accidentally stumbled upon the best idea for an April Fool's episode or episodes.
Oh.
We record 2 different episodes and then I take my audio from one and your audio from the other.
Well, now
and put it together and then vice versa.
Sure.
So then to really get the whole story of what's actually going on, you'd have to listen to both of them and try to figure it out.
Here's the trouble.
You'd have to listen to one in one ear and one in the other ear.
Okay. Here's the trouble I'm already running into with this. You better be prepared to do a lot of bleeping, because you just gave it away. Oh, you gave it all away.
Okay, I got multiple things that I'm not worried about.
Okay,
it's
starting with one.
It's January. Who the fuck's gonna remember this?
Hopefully us.
Well, yeah. Listen.
Jot.
I write down April Fool's idea, but not what it is.
Okay, excellent. Well, off to a great start. Oh, while you're going through your things, everyone, hello, welcome to High School Famous. Please, students, junior technical 3209. And what?
You just said while I'm going through my things, so you wanted me to keep talking while you were also talking?
No, like
maybe you say like, well, before you get back into your things,
fine.
This, that, and the other thing, blah, blah, blah.
I would hope that you would be not dumb enough to think that I was expecting you to continue talking and going through your items while I was doing that quick intro. It's not
that I'm dumb.
Apparently, you need that amount of explanation in order to understand.
It has nothing to do with my level of intelligence and everything to do with me holding you accountable for saying something stupid.
I didn't. Okay. All right. I guess.
Put this on TikTok. We're arguing. Apparently, that's what TikTok fucking likes.
That's what the people who like TikTok
people
likes.
Argue.
Well, I don't
Clip
want
it.
I don't want to. I think that's a stupid idea. You white dope. Gasp. You hatted glasses wearing bearded dope.
How dare you bring my heritage into this?
Which part? The glasses? The hatted?
The white?
Beard? The white. Oh, the most of your heritage.
Dope?
The dope. You look like dope.
That's just a habit.
If dope were a white powder.
Anyways, so we record 2 different episodes.
Number 2.
At the same time. I flip the audio.
So it's backwards?
So that you're just being an asshole. I use my audio from one and your audio from the other, put those together, and then vice versa. Your audio from the first one and my audio from the second one. Then somebody would have to listen to both episodes at the same time in each ear to be able to get the whole story of each one, and that would be very hard and confusing to figure out.
It would be hard to figure out even if they do that, because first of all,
they'd have a bunch of stuff. It'd be 2 different stories going on at the same time.
Right, but in one ear,
in
each ear, you would have one half of each story. And it's an interesting experiment. I just figured out how I could even make it even better. Okay.
I take my audio.
We do backwards masking.
So, no, shut the fuck up and listen.
No, we're gonna
so we'll call it episode 1 and episode 2. So I take my audio from episode 1 and your audio from episode 2.
Students, turn your textbooks to page 209. We are learning about audio recording. Go on.
No, I'm done now because you keep
not.
I'm going to stop talking about it.
I was stupidly
I have a great idea.
I was stupidly going through, yes, an April Fool's idea that you want to thoroughly explain during a show.
Why not?
Okay.
Because 1, I'm probably not going to fucking do it. 2, nobody listens to this fucking podcast, so who gives a shit? So nobody will ever hear this or the episode.
You're probably right. We could market it as this is a very special thing, and maybe that would grab the attention of some senators.
1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to the point where I'm just going to say, and I know what your reaction is going to be is to
hot button.
Don't reach out and try to get people to comment or say something or whatever. But I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, hey, if anybody wants us to keep doing this, keep recording episodes, actually email us or message us on some sort of social media thing and tell us that you want to listen to this. Because otherwise I'm getting to the point where like, why are we doing this?
Yeah. It is.
It's to hear ourselves talk.
And,
it gives us a reason to
chat.
Get on and chat. And I guess we might as well record it.
Why not?
But anyways, here's my idea that nobody's going to hear.
Okay.
Episode 1 and episode 2. I take my audio from episode 1.
Okay.
And throw it left channel. And then your audio from episode 2, throw it left channel.
Okay.
So both of us are going to be left channel on that episode. And then hold on.
Your audio from episode 2.
Hold on. I screwed that up. I take both of the audio, both mine and your audio from episode 1, but left channel them, and both of them from 2 and right channel them. And then I flip flop the audio so that my audio from 1 and your audio from 2 are together, and then vice versa. So if somebody wants to hear one episode or the other, all they have to do is just shift everything to whatever channel they want to listen to, and then they can listen to that episode.
That is actually
kind
of awesome. I wonder how many people with whatever players they might be listening to us through have the option to switch from left to right or isolate one channel over the other.
I mean, if you do earbuds, could you just listen to one earbud?
You could. Well,
would it still keep it would, or would that mix mix it stereo?
If you have wired earbuds,
wired, then you just take one out.
Then you just take one out of your wireless. It would just push everything to the one side that's still in your ear. So if you,
you could have both of them activated, just not have one in.
True. A lot of them they're based on having a sensor to tell if it's in your ear or not.
Of
so
course,
if you take it
everything's.
Well, yeah.
Everything's all smart now, so they ruin these fun ideas. The only idea I've had on this podcast for months, maybe a year.
Here's the thing, though. Just do it, because that will create a need to. I mean, people will, I would think, go through the little bit of a trouble it might take to sort of enable that experience. It sounds like a cool idea.
If you're listening on, headphones like this, you can just take one of the headphones off your ear.
Exactly.
You just listen to one of the episodes, and then you can listen to the other episode. But if you listen to it together, it's just going to be a cacophony of craziness.
So, explain again. On one side will be the audio of both of our episode 1s.
Yeah, so both of our episode 1s would be left channeled.
Okay.
And both of our episodes 2 would be right channeled. But if you're listening to one episode at a time, you'd have to. So the thing is, you'd have to still play both episodes at the same time and start them both at the same time.
Yeah.
That would be the difficult part.
Yes. Playing from one player with one set of headphones.
Or so what we do instead is we just put out one episode that's 2 episodes put together.
Back one at the end of the
on top, they're both
layered on top of each other.
Layered on top of each other.
Okay.
So if you want to listen to episode 1, you have to left channel everything. If you want to listen to episode 2, you have to right channel everything.
And by that, Matt means only listen to one earbud. Not if you push everything over to the right channel, you'll hear both on the right side.
Yeah,
and
if
so
you have
forth,
like an
vice
old
versa.
school stereo where you could just shut off one side or the other,
then you'll only hear the one episode. Okay,
where you can listen to just one channel. Or
so then this is kind of abandoning the original idea of putting my episode 2 audio with your episode 1 audio.
Yeah, this would actually just be all the audios together, but I'm just
You're putting one on one side and the other. Okay, all right. We could get really. I mean, we could try to be somewhat strategic about this as far as we just record the first episode, maybe with no plan involved aside from just recording an episode. The second episode, we can very specifically say things at the right times so that one thing said in episode 2 would almost be in direct response to something said in episode 1, for example. That might not work with all the truncating that you do that takes out all the dead air. Maybe there wouldn't be time in between. But maybe it could be sort of echoey enough, like they sort of overlap a little bit, but it's almost like something said in episode 2 could be a direct response to something said in episode 1. Not all the time. Not like we're trying to make every line do that, but occasional.
What I could do because of the way I truncate everything is I select all the audio and truncate it.
Yeah.
Because if you just do one line at a time, it'll take all the space out in just my track, and then it would shrink my track down, and then it would do that. So you have to do both tracks at the same time, so it only truncates out what's actual silence.
Right.
So I could take all 4 pieces of audio and truncate them all together.
Yeah.
So that if there's any gaps in there, it'll get filled in by the other episode.
Perfect.
But if you're trying to listen, so that only really matters if you're trying to listen to both episodes at the same time.
Yeah. It's
going to be an absolute nightmare to listen to.
Each episode obviously would be a standalone episode.
Yes.
But there would be a couple little bonus moments should you try to listen to both at once. Yes, most of it would probably just be a cluster. But there'd be those few moments where we strategically place some things that are said so that they kind of go together a little bit.
Yeah.
Or we pick out something that's said in episode 1 and go, okay, what would be a funny, weird thing to say in response to this that's kind of messed up? And then we just make sure we throw that in. It's just an idea,
This is
very oddly ambitious, but also not in a way.
The thing is like I said, we could do this as an April Fool's joke, but we can just kind of do this whenever. We can just it doesn't have to be an April Fool's thing, especially now since we've talked about it at nauseum.
Yeah. Do you want to record a second episode right after this?
No.
Oh, okay. Neither do I.
Yeah. It's 7:30 on a Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Gross.
No. And I'm not preparing myself for that, kind of editing at the moment, and I don't know what the editing would look like for you. Would you just edit each episode separately and just release them each as individual YouTube episodes, or would it be a cacophony of?
I suppose I could
noise.
I could make a video episode for each one separately, and then maybe just make one where all 4 tracks are there too,
and then put both of them on top of each other after that.
Yeah, we're in like a 4. There's 4 shots where there's just 2 of me and 2 of you. That would be kind of weird, but I could make it work, I guess.
It'd be like how the movie Kill Bill, how he did it. This is not at all like what I'm about to talk about. But Kill Bill was made into 2 separate movies, but originally it was one long movie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the director's cut version of it, where it's like, this is how we released it on the audio version, but you're also going to get the treat of not having to deal with that nonsense on the video version of it.
Yeah, and like Kill Bill was not meant to be 2 movies or one movie that you fold in half and watch both halves at the same time. Yeah. This would be like
it was a really, really bad
analogy.
Comparison.
This would be like lining up Dark Side of the Moon with Wizard of Oz, but terrible. Like it wouldn't sync up at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that would sync up exactly would be maybe us saying "See you next Tuesday" at the end or something.
Well, so we'd have to figure that timing out.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, you could just control how much is truncated on one or the other, so that part lines up, and we can go, okay, this episode was, an hour and 20 minutes. The next one we'll try to land it right around that same hour and 20 minute mark. So it's more likely that it'll line up.
Well, yeah. And I can easily line up the See You Next Tuesday part at the end.
Yeah. That's easily. What I thought. I thought it would be pretty easy.
Yeah.
But, I've got,
there you go. A little BTS for you.
Boom. There's so many scenes that we're behind. So I said I was going to ask my Spanish-speaking friend if the opposite of bueno is no bueno, and apparently it is not. Mm-hmm. Apparently the opposite would be malo, M-A-L-O. And so I had asked something like, so would I ever say if something was good, would I ever say it's not malo? Like, I'm not bad. Or would I say I'm not well? And the response was no. You wouldn't say not well or not bad. You would just say good or bad. So no bueno appears to be a not official way of speaking in the Spanish language.
Yeah, I feel like that's... and that's probably a thing that a lot of English-speaking people do where because most languages aren't structured the way English is structured.
I know.
So we try to take the way we say things and then like put that into another language. And it's like, I feel like a lot of times they can kind of get an idea of what you're trying to say, but it doesn't quite line up. It doesn't quite make sense to them in a way.
Yeah.
Or it's like that where it's like, well, that's not really the way to say it, but I guess I get what you're saying.
So this was part of the answer I had to go through and translate it. So it says, no need to say not bad or no bad. For example, you can say, how nice would it be to have dinner with you? The opposite of that would be, too bad I have some stuff to do. And then I replied by saying, so are you subtly telling me that if I were to ask you to dinner, that you would say no because you're too busy? And
their response was they deleted your number.
Yeah, I think that shortly after the police arrived at my door.
That's not really an arrestable offense.
No, but
to ask somebody if they would say no to you going to dinner with them.
It's not, but this isn't the first time, so...
I think the police showed up for different reasons. I think it was coincidental, unrelated. It's just the timing was weird.
I mean, I was just borrowing all that gold.
You call it gold, but we know that it's buckets of urine.
Liquid gold, yes.
That's not what they call liquid gold. That would be oil.
But oil is not gold colored.
But it's money. It makes money, so it's liquid gold.
Okay, well, you could say like alcohol makes money, like alcoholic beverages make money.
Alcohol doesn't cost as much as oil does.
It still makes money.
Oil's worth more.
Fine, alcohol is liquid silver. How's that?
Sure, maybe bronze. I don't think people trade in bronze anymore.
Yeah, people are like, no, I don't want it.
Or be copper, I guess. They never really made bronze coins. They made copper coins, though.
True, but we're thinking of the metals. Silver or gold, silver, bronze.
I'm thinking of different ages.
Yeah,
sorry.
Why not? Yeah, silver and iron age. Yeah, I mean
dark, middle.
One for the
money.
One for the ages.
Oh,
two for the two for the
ages. Two for the
one for the ages. Two for the prehistoric thing. Man, I'm going to share my screen with you to give you an update on how I'm doing on my New Year's resolution.
Oh, have you been painting?
I've been painting. So I'm going to share this with you. It's just a simple painting I've entitled Mountains.
I don't know how mountainy they are.
I mean,
it's almost like
they are pointy.
I mean, but mountains aren't shaped like that.
These are. It's art,
Those
dude.
Are very leany.
It's art.
It's almost like a bad drawing of the Sydney Opera House.
Or an excellent painting of some glorious mountains in the distance.
It's like a sailboat in the far distance.
And
what style brush did you use?
This is all on the computer.
Right.
I would have,
because it's looking like it's got a canvasy texture to it.
I think that's the background automatically, because all this area over here, I didn't color this in.
Right.
All the like the sky area, so it just looked like
Right.
that. Let me look at the name of the program I downloaded. It's called Hue Paint.
Okay.
HUE paint. So I just opened it and I don't know what kind of brush style I picked. I just started painting, so I didn't really dig too deep in like the settings and what kind of customizations you can do. But yeah, I've got some birds up here, and these sort of darker things are supposed to be clouds.
I figured that.
Mountains, and this nice water down here.
Those two clouds look like different types of hats just floating in the sky.
Well, everyone can see shapes in clouds. It's pretty common.
True.
So you can interpret them how you'd like. I think of them as fatter birds, but let's go with your idea that they're hats. What kind of hats do you see? I think let's start with the far left one. What do you see?
That one, it's kind of... See, it's weird because it's kind of got a little bit of a wispy spot on the right side too, but otherwise it kind of looks like one of those like raccoon skin hats where it's like got the raccoon tail on it.
So so this part here is the raccoon tail part?
Yeah, that's the raccoon tail.
Okay. All right. So what about this cloud here?
That one's more sombrero-like.
Okay. And I mean, this we probably aren't equating to
that
a hat.
one. I wasn't. Yeah, that's
okay.
That's just a little wisp. That's like a
maybe a Shriners type of a thing.
Well, maybe I was thinking it looks like an Oreo or like a Spaghetti-O.
Okay. Very different things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, but the mountains, I mean, they're very majestic, and
I mean, I've never seen you paint before, so I don't know what your skill level is at. So I don't know if this is good or bad for you.
Well, okay.
Or
so
how hard you really tried.
It didn't take long, but I also was just on my couch and I was just using the trackpad. I didn't even have my mouse to do this with. So, and I had to figure out, because you can apply different levels of pressure on the trackpad to get thicker or thinner lines and strokes. And so that was a tricky thing to get used to. The birds were the toughest part in that regard. Trying to not get these giant, like just fatly brushed bird wings and have them also sort of be like a consistent color all the way through, or consistent darkness.
So you said those are really big mountains?
The birds are very close.
I was gonna say the birds are closer to us, or the birds gigantic.
The birds are closer to us. They just happen to not be in front of any of the mountains. For perspective's sake, I should have maybe, to make that point more clear, I could have put at least one of the birds in front of one of the mountains. But
first painting. We're learning. Is this an island then?
It's some mountains. Perspective, is a tricky beast. So
because I assume this is water.
This is definitely water. All this down here.
So then it would seem
right here my lovely initials to sign my work.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
So that's why I'm feeling like this is an island, because it doesn't go all the way across.
Well, we can't see how far back the land goes.
Yeah, maybe it's a peninsula.
This is part of a
some
peninsula. I'm more picturing.
Okay.
So yeah, this is beautiful, I think, especially for a first go.
I mean, I think the thing I think is great about this is that if you do stick to this, I would be very curious if we do like an end of year recap on like your progress with painting.
Sure.
And see if you've really actually gotten better. I mean, to see if you like take it, how seriously you actually take it.
I mean, if initial second attempt, if I even am using my mouse, I think that would help me tremendously as far as just be able to control the direction of the brush and all that kind of stuff, versus using the trackpad. So I think I will make a point to use the mouse for the second painting, and we can just see. Now, it's tough.
It'd be even better if you get to the point where you're just like, I'm really getting into this, and then you buy a freaking like digital art pad.
Oh, gosh.
And really start going to town.
I could try to convince my son to let me use his iPad and his Apple Pencil to be trying to paint with that.
You could try. Yeah, you could try that out.
I would. Yeah, I mean, this was a free program, and I imagine it's on iPad also. I don't know if it's just on the Mac computer, but we'll see. But yes, I'll definitely make a point to use the mouse for the second painting just to see how much that will help me. I'll try not to do just mountains again. Although, would you want more of a direct comparison if I do another painting of mountains with a mouse?
I think you need to paint what you feel.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you'll find what you're good at. Because the thing is, like, I don't know how many people know this about you, but you're not a bad drawer.
So, thank you.
Yeah, you have some drawing skills.
What I will say is, when it comes to drawing, my strength has always been being able to look at something and draw it relatively accurately. As far as just creating something on my own without referencing anything else, I'm not always like, I wouldn't be good at drawing like the human form, especially with hands and things like that, if I don't have something to look at. And I know that professional artists do that. They will look at images like drawings or images of hands in order to at least get the idea of what to do. But the last I
mean, you could definitely do that if you wanted to. I mean,
you're saying try to paint?
You're just trying to paint and stuff, so you could find something that you want to, like an image of something that you're like, oh, let me see if I can recreate this.
Sure, maybe that's something I could try as well.
So the more you do that stuff, anyways, just the better you get at it, to the point where you can do it without reference.
That's true. Okay, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Okay, so what else do we want to go over here today? I did say that I was gonna. I don't even know if I talked about what it was gonna be, but I know there was something else I was gonna bring to this show.
Yeah, last week you were starting after we were done recording. You're just like, you were gonna tell me something, and you're like, wait, I should just wait to bring that up until we record again.
So this is just a silly conversation that was had at work. There's a chat group for people that are pretty regularly playing darts in the little game room at work. And I'm one of those people. And there was a tournament coming up, and this coworker and I, Scott, we were going to be the fourth and fifth seed or whatever at the beginning of the tournament. And we didn't have to play each other to figure out if we were going to be 4 or 5, it was more of it didn't affect where we could place later. It was just going to be like a formality to be like, well, this person was 4 and this person was 5. So we were making a decision on whether or not to play a game against each other, and whoever won that would be in the 4th and I would be in the 5th, for example, if I lost. Right. Or if we were just going to like flip something like a coin and just say whatever. So I cut out all the stuff that doesn't directly refer to this little chunk of the conversation, but okay, I'll just read through it. Maybe it's funny, maybe it's not. So this guy, Brad, says, Sean and Scott, your game really is a formality. You guys will be matched up against each other for the December tournament, as you are the 4th and the 5th seed. Oh, yeah, so no matter who won a warm-up game or who won a coin toss, the first game in the official tournament was going to be he and I against each other anyway. Okay. It's just a matter of, was I here and he here, or vice versa. So then Scott replied, then we don't need to play. And Brad said, guess you don't really have to, but for stats and records, maybe it would be nice to know who is the true 4 and 5 is, unless you guys want to flip a coin if it means nothing to the two of you. And Scott says, I surrender to Sean. And then I said at 3:19 p.m., we can flip some two-sided object with distinct markings on each side. And then Scott said, where can we find one of those? And I said, I'd start with a child's piggy bank. And then Scott said, I'll report back tomorrow with piggy status. Do we need more than one piggy? And then I said, you don't even need more than one flippable object. And then Scott said, so we can flip any object, two-sided? And Brad said, are you all here tomorrow? And then I said, as long as it bears distinct markings on each side. And then Brad says, do you guys want to flip a ping pong ball? And I said, put distinct markings on each side, and sure. And then Scott said, yeah, we could flip tomorrow. I said, I don't know how much more I can stress that the object will need to be two-sided and have distinct markings on each side. And then someone named Ashley said, I think we get it. And I said, I've never, at 3:26 p.m., I've never typed distinct markings more times in my entire life than I have in the last 5 minutes. And then someone else named Sua said, I'll be here, in response to, is everyone here tomorrow? Mm-hmm. And I said, Sua, do you have distinct markings on each side? We could flip you, maybe. And then she said, backflip. Whoever lands on one leg gets to choose. And that was the end of it. But I don't know. Did you find that mildly entertaining?
I saw the thing coming of the person saying that they were there, and then Sean's like, I knew you were gonna be like, we could flip that person.
Okay. As long as they have distinct markings on each side.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But people like the ping pong ball idea was like, okay,
ping pong ball is not two-sided for one.
But if you
it's a sphere.
If you create two sides by putting, like, at the top you put a marking and at the bottom you put another marking, you could sort of create it.
You tell me how to flip a ping pong and let it and decide that it's going to land on a specific distinct marking.
Well, the only way it could fail is if it landed perfectly so that each marking was like completely level on either side.
Right.
And not
so
on
it would
the
be
top
whichever marking is slightly higher than the other one would have been the...
Yes, would be the one that is facing up, so to speak.
Whichever hemisphere is slightly more north.
Exactly. So, these are some of the shenanigans I find myself getting into at work, and how I talk to some people. And, I guess that's...
It gets rowdy.
It's
pretty rowdy at your job.
Now, granted, this is through, the company's messaging service, so we're not going to go nuts in here. In the dart room itself, let me tell you, it gets pretty raunchy sometimes. But, I can't remember any of that stuff because it's not written down.
What can you do?
Aside from audio recording a conversation without anyone's knowledge, I don't know. True.
Yeah, nothing fun happens at my job.
I wouldn't say that this is kind of like, this is at least something. What I mean is it's something that we can do as small groups and just sort of be competitive with it. Then this has really only been going kind of strong for the last little bit less than a year, where there's been these sort of underground sort of dart tournaments going on. And I find myself now pretty much every morning and afternoon break, there's a group of us that always go in and play various dart games. Cricket, 301, Bermuda Triangle, Shanghai, things like that. So much so that the board that was purchased last January pretty much needs to be replaced and is going to be replaced by Monday.
Is it like it's an actual dartboard, like metal darts?
No. It's soft tip darts, and it's it's one of those electric dartboards with
it's just
plastic
so beat up already.
Yeah, and there's so many tips that have broken off and are stuck in there in different parts, and we have a set of little needle nose pliers that we can pull out sometimes, but a lot of times it breaks off so short in there where you can't get them out. So, and I wouldn't trust myself to try to take like the back of the dartboard off or something to try to push out all the tips from the inside or from the back side of it. So a new board is purchased off Amazon, and a bunch of us chipped in a little bit of money toward it that use the board pretty regularly. So yeah,
fun stuff.
I mean, we're all getting, mildly decent. In a game of cricket earlier today, do you know how cricket works?
No.
I'm not sure how familiar you are with darts. So cricket is, you're only dealing with the numbers 15 through 20 and then the bullseye. So you're not worried about 1 through 14. But if I throw and I get 3 darts to hit 15, I've now opened 15, and then I can then score and get points every time I hit 15 after that on other turns. If my opponent hits on their next turn 3 15s, 15 is now closed and nobody can score on 15. So your whole goal is to try to get all those numbers open and score points on them before the other player closes them, and they're trying to open things before you do and get points. And then ultimately, whenever the last thing gets closed, whoever has the most points wins. Or if it gets to a point where I'm the only one that has stuff open, like I'm the first to open the last couple things that are left, then that means that my opponent can't possibly score any points on those things, and now I automatically win because they can never beat me in points. Anyway, so earlier today we were playing cricket, and I got 2 double bullseyes in a row to open up bullseyes and got some points with just 2 darts. Yeah, so pretty. But then this is kind of the thing. This is the kind of thing that like would have not mattered at all to me. It's still like not an impressive thing to be like, I hit 2
ladies.
I hit a triple 20 and then a triple 15. And then I closed on a double 13. It was pretty impressive. It's largely unimportant.
Put that on my Tinder bio.
Right.
I've been playing a lot of darts lately. I'm pretty good at hitting a spot, if you know what I mean, ladies.
Starts with a...
Yeah.
The good spot.
You get a lady back to your place, and then you stand across the room just to throw darts at her.
Yeah, she's laying there ready for me to, go to work. Yeah. And then I start tossing darts her way. Yeah. I mean, I hit my target.
Yeah, I mean, it might work for her.
Once, and then she's out the door.
Yeah, then you're like, oh, man, I closed it. I can't
score anymore.
Now.
It's closed. Damn it. Yeah, she runs out. I'm like, but I drove you here. She's like, I don't care. I'll run.
Yeah.
But your phone's left behind. I don't care.
Yeah, she's like, I'll hitchhike.
Yeah. So this is another little, I'm not sure if we call this an idea or not.
Okay.
I thought, AI is becoming ever smarter, correct? Mm-hmm. At least that's what the goal is. Yeah. It's constantly learning.
That's what AI keeps telling me.
It has told us that it's learning.
Yeah, that it's getting smarter.
So I thought, what if we track the progress of ChatGPT?
Okay.
And by doing so, every week, we will put in the same exact prompt, and we'll see how the results differ each week.
All right.
To see if it's getting better or worse or the same. Now, I have not come up with the prompt we will use if we decide to.
Okay.
This is something we want to do. So maybe we can both brainstorm quickly on a silly type of a prompt that we would hope would generate something somewhat comical or humorous, and then we could try to just remember that. I can even copy its result and paste it so that we can refer back to it if we have to.
Right.
And compare it to the following week's entry.
So we want to ask it a question, or we want to just see what it comes up with when we put something weird in?
Well,
because I think if you ask it a question, if it's a specific question, it's going to give you the same answer every single time.
If it's a very straightforward, this is the correct answer. Yeah. So it's got to be something a little more, I think, abstract, but it is something we would have to sort of be able to test its accuracy on, or at least its like coherency. Like, remember whatever that was that made those little Batman stories that were pretty funny, like the whole the Joker, something about Batman's dead parents, and I'm a clown. Like, do you remember those? You brought them and you read them on the show.
Yeah, I think that was a stupid that
wasn't that was a thing GPT,
where
but
no, that was a thing where it was like somebody said like I made an AI program watch
Batman
10,000 hours of Batman or something, and then it wrote its own Batman. It's like that's not real.
But we could have we could have it test its knowledge or something like about a pop culture type of a like a Batman or something. We could be like, tell me a Batman story. Then it's always going to come back with like sort of very non-human like sentence structure sometimes. Yeah. So maybe that's something we can measure.
I don't know why the only thing that popped in my head so far is like, hey, ChatGPT, we know Batman doesn't kill, but if he were to kill, how would he kill the Joker?
I mean, do we want to do that?
I don't know, because that to me is just like, how are we going to track whether or not AI is getting smarter with that?
Well, part of it is just going to be simple stuff like I said, like how a sentence is structured. Because like we saw with the resolutions, stop blaming people again. I will start dating people on the internet right now.
Yeah, but I think that was just some program somebody made that just like it takes this and this, and it just mixes them up.
But we don't know what ChatGPT does. I don't know how they work or how it works, but
it's smart.
Okay,
it's learning.
It is learning.
Yeah.
It is learning. What was that thing where you read stuff like when they were something about brushing off the effects of the sex or whatever? Was that ChatGPT?
That was, yeah, I think I put that into ChatGPT. I had it write me,
but what
did I have it do? I had it write stories somehow, and I can't remember what I did.
But that's an example of like, well, no human would say a sentence that way. No one would refer to it in that way. So we can find examples of that in the result if there are. And then if we ask the same query the next week, we can see if it improves on those types of like mistakes or.
Okay.
That's one thing. But we can also have it be something that is like a Batman figure that a lot of people know a lot about. And we'll see how well it knows facts about, how well it knows Batman and what his world is like.
Right.
Just something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm jumping into my ChatGPT real quick to see if it's in here for things I did. I'm trying to remember when I did those. I don't know if it doesn't keep all my old stuff. Yeah, I don't know if I was having it try to write me like, because I remember I was trying to do like trying to make it write like dirty fan fiction or some shit, but it's like that. I don't remember what I did.
Okay.
We'd have to go back and listen to that episode. I'm sure I explained what the hell I did in that episode.
Well, what if, how about this? Maybe this isn't something we start today. We can over the next week or however, whenever we decide we're ready to start this, if we even want to, we can give ourselves time to come up with a very solid query to put in. And then, yeah, because right now, this was pretty irresponsible of me to go, yeah, let's brainstorm and think of something live on the show. Not always the best when it comes to content.
Oh, wait, I think I found it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was just saying, yeah, so like, I might not have used these, but I like, write me a movie synopsis for a movie that doesn't make any sense. That was one of the things I did. And I said, write me a movie synopsis for a horror movie, but about a killer puppy and kitten.
Okay.
Those are two I did there.
Are you trying to write a script?
No, I was trying to I thought they would be funny to read on here if they were good enough.
Perfect.
And I don't know if I ever read those on here.
I don't think you did. I remember we did a couple sessions of putting in progressively odd queries into ChatGPT for just stories to tell or read on the show.
Yeah. I mean, we could ask it once again because I've done this before. We've asked it if it knows what the High School Famous podcast is.
I mean, are you going to do that right now, or do you want me to do it?
I've done it before.
Do you? No.
I did it in 2023.
What? So what did you just say? Do you know what the high school?
I said, I asked it a few different things to see what we would get for answers, but I just said, who is High School Famous podcast? And then after I got that answer, I said, there is a podcast called High School Famous. It is hosted by, then I started trying to feed it information to see if it would get smarter.
There's a podcast called High School Famous. It is.
Is it?
Oh, just who is it?
Yeah, like who hosts it? See if it
Okay,
knows it.
so
See what it knows.
who is
See
it
if
or
it's
who
learned.
hosts it? You got to be clear on what I'm supposed
I
to
said
type.
who hosts it? Because who is it doesn't make sense.
I don't know. You said who is it first. Who hosts it? Question mark.
Thought you said who is it?
Okay. So do you have the results from before?
So originally, okay, so this is what it originally said when I said who is High School Famous? I said who is High School Famous podcast? And then it just says I apologize
I don't
for
care
the
about
confusion.
that because that's not what I put in just now.
Well, Sean, what you typed in just now is not something I typed in here at all.
Well, then why'd you have me type that? Because that's not the same query.
You just started typing. I didn't know what you were doing. So
you
there's one that
you
said,
started feeding it more info as you said. There is a podcast called High School Famous, and you started saying something like it is hosted by, and then you said I started feeding it more information. So I started typing that exact thing, thinking you typed that exact thing.
So after the thing I originally typed, Sean, and it told me it didn't have any information. So yes, then I said there is a podcast called High School Famous. Mm-hmm. It is hosted by Mash Legal and Sean Tattoo.
Okay. And
then it said it apologized for its mistake earlier.
Oh.
It was not aware of the existence of this podcast. Thank you for letting me know. From what I understand, the High School Famous podcast is a comedy podcast that features hosts Mash Legal and Sean Tattoo discussing various topics related to high school experiences and pop culture. If you have any other questions, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And then after that, I typed in who is High School Famous podcast.
Who is High School Famous podcast?
Yeah, I don't know why I typed that.
Okay.
Because that was what I had typed originally. And there it then said the High School Famous podcast is a comedy podcast hosted by Mash Legal and Sean Tattoo. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Then it kind of got some information.
Okay.
So now I'm curious after that, which was 2023. Now what does it say?
Well, let me just stop you because
you can't stop me
because you said that you had typed who is High School Famous podcast. And when I was thinking that you said I should type there is a podcast called High School Famous. Who is it? You're like, that doesn't make any sense. But you typed who is High School Famous podcast, which equally makes no sense. And you thought that was something that made sense to type in.
I can't explain what my brain did 2 years ago, Sean.
Okay. Well, here's what I put in. There is a podcast called High School Famous. Who hosts it?
Okay.
This makes me nervous that we might need to look into something.
Okay.
The podcast High School Famous is hosted by Chet Garner and Will Spence. It's a fun and often nostalgic look at life after high school, featuring stories, humor, and reflections on growing up, with a particular focus on what it means to be high school famous, or how people navigate the transition from adolescence to adulthood. Chet and Will bring their own experiences and stories into the mix, often exploring themes like friendship, the awkwardness of high school life, and the things that shape us as we grow. I think this is similar.
That's not a real person.
I think this is similar to when in episode 200, when I put in something about describe what our podcast is. I think there was a very similar response, but it didn't mention a Chet Garner or a Will Spence. So I'm wondering if these are real people that we need to look into, and if they actually have a podcast of the same name.
So what exactly did you type? Because now I'm going to type it on my ChatGPT and see what it says.
I'll say it again.
Slowly.
There is. Let me look closely. Now, I didn't put a period after there's a podcast called High School Famous, and then who is it? Who hosts it? There is a podcast called High School Famous. Who hosts it? ? Now, that was not properly written. It was one run-on little sentence, so it doesn't...
Yep.
Okay. Does it mention Chet Garner and Will Spence?
Okay, so the problem is what I did. I typed it into this already running thing I had going on.
Okay, so start over.
It did pull up our names this time.
Okay.
So I'm curious.
Start over.
Yep, so I'm going to copy...
I don't know why you would do that, considering...
Because I wasn't thinking, I just did it. Searching the web.
The web? Did it say that for me, I wonder? I can't remember.
So here's what comes up. The podcast High School Famous is hosted by Sean Tattoo and Matthew Schlegel. These two high school friends cover a range of humorous topics and anecdotes, often tied to their personal experiences and casual discussions. That is that's a better description of what we do than I've ever been able to put together.
Yeah, I like that actually.
Yeah.
We should put that, and we should replace your two hosts talk about things and stuff in probably high school.
Yeah, probably.
Because I hate that. So interesting. Do you have an account with ChatGPT?
Yes.
I do not. I'm just going in. So maybe that's why it's giving me a different result. Raw. Yeah. I'm hitting that target. I'm hitting that spot later.
Yeah. Tossing that dart in raw.
Mm-hmm. It's a
so I don't know if it's pulling information out of my account as well, so that it just has that information.
Okay.
So it searched 5 sites and that's what it came up with.
See, I have no idea how this doesn't show me anything about where it got its information.
Oh, see, it got it from Bing.com.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
highschoolfamous.libsyn.com.
It binged it.
iHeart.com, TuneIn.com, PodcastAddict.com, and iffy.fm.
Iffy.fm. All right. Well,
so that's where it pulled information from.
So one thing we'll have to settle on or agree on is if we decide to go through with a weekly query that is the same for ChatGPT, if we do it from your account or my non-account, it'll have to be the same one doing it every time, I think.
I think it would be better to go with the non-account because I feel like
that's what I'm thinking.
It's learning, it's pulling information probably from the account, be like, oh, well, I already learned this from here. So
for me, it's not, there's nothing stored on my end, at least.
Yeah, so it's raw.
It's quite raw.
Mm-hmm.
It's chafed.
Gross.
We keeps it real here on High School Famous. ChatGPT, you better learn that.
We keeps it raw.
We keeps it raw. It's tasty sausage. Cue the ghost turkey gobble. Get that soundboard.
I'm telling you this. Space them out.
What do you mean?
The more you do it, the more I want to kill it.
I've
called
for it 2 times.
I know. I'm just saying.
We're 9 episodes into episode.
Give it
in the 200.
Give it some breathing room.
I mean, this is in 9 weeks. I've called for it 2 times. I think that's not. I'm not beating a dead horse here. Or a dead turkey.
Agree to disagree.
Do I have
twice
to?
Twice a year is enough.
Okay. Is that really a running?
We'll see.
Is that okay? I don't think you can call that a running gag. Then that's just like one callback.
I mean, I guess we'll just see how annoyed I get with it. I don't do it as often as you'd like, but we'll see if I get annoyed with it and then end up killing it.
No, we'll see when you get annoyed with it, which is already now. I can tell. You're not. I think you're already there, considering that it was followed by a large sigh.
I'll be less annoyed. I'll be less annoyed when I can soundboard it. When I can soundboard it.
Yeah.
I'll be way less annoyed because then I won't have to worry about editing it in.
True.
And writing times down.
You'll have to have your phone at the ready to be able to.
Oh yeah, I mean it'll be here. I'll just have it unlocked and ready to go. And
what other sounds do you want to have?
I don't know. I figure we'll come up with, more stuff that we'll come up with. I can try to. I went back and I looked through what sound effects we did have, and I put some of those onto the soundboard. But
okay,
they'll be there. Some you might know about, some you might not. If I find a piece of audio I really enjoy out of an episode, maybe I'll just make a little clip of that and make it a sound that we can throw in.
Can you put my paintings on it?
No. We can put my reactions to your paintings on it.
Those are too offensive.
Yeah. It'd be a lot of ew.
Yeah. Gross. Then like actual audio of you vomiting in your lap because you refuse to move and try to get it anywhere else because you insist.
It's warm.
You actually take pleasure in vomiting in your own lap.
Yeah. It's very warm and
nice.
I
like the feeling when my cat is sitting on my lap because it makes me a little warm, and so I want to.
You don't have a cat.
No, I'm speaking for you. I'm speaking as you.
Oh, you should probably make sure that's clear.
Oh, sorry. I didn't sound dopey enough.
Well, I like when my cat's in my lap because it makes my legs feel warm, and so I want to recreate that experience with my vomit.
That is a really, really awful Obama impression.
Yes, we can.
Isn't that Bob the Builder?
I have no idea. What were Obama's slogans? His campaign slogans?
It might have been yes.
I thought yes we can was one of them.
No, what's the Bob the Builders?
Did Obama get it from Bob the Builder?
I don't know. Oh, it's can we fix it? Yes, we can. That's Bob the Builder.
Okay. And Obama. Barack.
Oh. What?
Not Michelle.
Was Obama's, what was it, like
campaign slogan? Yeah, campaign slogan. I will be president this time. And then I will be president again. You'll see.
So in 2008, it was yes, we can. And then in 2012, it was forward.
Oh, man. A 3-word slogan down to a 1-word slogan?
Yeah, I mean, he was confident.
Can you even call that a slogan if it's 1 word?
I don't know. I guess yes.
All right, I'm going to task us with, for next week, if either of us were to
come up with a high school famous slogan.
Well, I was going to say we could come up with our own individual campaign slogans if we were to run for president.
I think it would have been great if Obama just took the whole Bob the Builder catchphrase and just used it.
Well,
I think what would have been funny is if in 2008 his slogan was "Can we fix it?" and then in 2012 it was "Yes, we can." Missed opportunity, Obama.
Yeah,
Thanks for nothing.
You sure did cost yourself both of those elections by not doing that.
You could have gotten a 3rd term if you would have done that right.
Yeah, we would have changed all the rules for you.
Yeah.
Obamalamadingdong.
That would have been hilarious.
But it wasn't.
But his doesn't have the apostrophe after the, or not the apostrophe, the comma after the yes. Because with Bob the Builder, it's can we fix it? Yes, we can.
We can, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas
I think
Obama was just like, yes, we can.
I think we would have understood and got the connection. Yeah. I think that. I mean, how often do people incorrectly use punctuation and things already? I don't think that a lot of people,
every day.
Most people probably wouldn't even notice.
Yeah. That's why I use Grammarly.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a whole year, I will be using Grammarly.
You can make ChatGPT's responses more succinct via Grammarly.
Yeah, I can take ChatGPT's responses and then put them into Grammarly, and then
by the way,
I can punch them up.
By the way, has anyone sent you anything that they want you to fix up using Grammarly?
Of course not.
No. And
even if they did, I probably wouldn't have thought to check to see if they did.
I mean,
I get that. I guess I get email notifications. So
okay, so this is episode 209. Yes, we can agree on that.
Yes. Yeah.
What episode do we go? Somebody tell us that you listen and that you want us to keep doing this, or we're done.
I mean, now works.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So this is it.
It's a cry for help.
This is a cry for acknowledgement. If there's anyone out there that is a regular or at least somewhat frequent listener of this show,
and hopefully it's frequent enough that you actually listen to
this one. So we have to decide how much time we want to give someone to respond to this, because this episode will come out Tuesday next week. How much time do we want to give them? 2 weeks?
We'll get.
So by the time episode 211 comes out,
realistically, we just do like in the next month. People, let's reach out.
Okay,
let's start interacting here. We want to hear from you. We need to hear from you.
Do you guys want us to have
kill ourselves?
Well, no. Do you want us to have a Discord where we can interact there? I don't know what people want as far as
where we can have some discourse.
Yeah. So Yeah. Do you want us to go there? I don't know what people like when it comes to communicating. Do you want us to have Slack? I don't know if you can have that without it being in a company or not, but I think
maybe we just let's maybe start doing some TikTok live shit again too, or we record live at the same time as we're fucking doing the episode. So if people want to watch us record live,
yeah, follow us on TikTok.
Interact with you on there.
There's 2 ways to do it. You can follow the official at HSFamousPod, and you can also follow at ToolFanReacts, where I would be live, because we would have to be live together on 2 different accounts.
Mm-hmm. But we would like you to, I mean, for Sean's sake, I'm sure he'd like you to follow him over there. But
I don't post anything on there, so.
Okay. So officially follow
at
HSFamous.
At HSFamousPod.
Follow that one.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be live on that, and then Sean will be conferenced in on it, or however that works, or whatever.
The only reason I was suggesting that I'm an alternative to be someone to follow is that because all the questions would go to you then if everyone that's interacting is interacting with HSFamousPod, but this way people could interact with me at the same time.
Yeah, and we already know how well I read.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but anyway,
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, we
make this worth our while. People.
I know. I mean, this. I know.
Been doing this for like 4 years.
I know people are like, "Who cares?" But you know, this is not only not free. Or this is not only free for everyone, and it's only cost us money. And,
yeah, it's free for everybody but us.
It's only cost us money and time, and
we want to enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like a job.
Yeah. And we also more than that, we just want to know that we're not shouting out to a vacuum.
Yeah. It'd be fun to just, even if it's fucking 2 people, like, come on.
Yeah. Interact with us.
Talk to us here. Let's do this. I mean, we know our friends fucking occasionally listen, but they don't fucking interact unless they're on the show.
The only
assholes.
Okay. There have been a very small handful of times that someone has responded directly to something. And I remember when I used to do those regular tongue twisters, we did have someone we know submit a tongue twister when I asked for that. So, yeah. And I think your mom had...
I don't think that person listens anymore.
Not that I know of. Yeah. If you know who you are, so if you listen, text me. Send me a text.
Fucking reach out to us.
Yeah. Because, we really want to... we're not hiring some professional service that really sort of combs through all of the sources to see how much or how many listeners we have. We have the little bit of data that we have to go off of. And so it's really just looking like almost no one's downloading these shows.
Well, the weirdest thing is everything was going okay for a while.
Yeah, it
seemed like things were fine. People were listening, and then all of a sudden it just took a weird dip. And I'm like, well, if this is real,
yeah, what did we do?
What are we doing?
What did we do to cause the dip?
Yeah, who did we offend?
Well, the hard thing the hard thing about that is the people who still listen are not going to know the reason for the dip because they are the ones who still listen, if there are any. Mm-hmm. The ones that don't listen anymore aren't going to listen to know that we asked this question.
True.
So, again, another thing that we're asking that would fall on deaf ears.
Yeah, those who do listen, reach out to us. Mm-hmm. Let us know you're listening. And that you care if we do this anymore. And I don't honestly think we're going to stop right now or anything, but the other thing is tell people about us.
Yeah. If you
put it out there, be like, hey, you like podcasts? This is a fun podcast.
If you like,
it's got good episodes. It's got bad episodes.
I think what our podcast is good for is it's something you can put on that you don't need to think. It's not something you're going to... on rare occasion, we look things up and maybe reveal some knowledge that it could help someone, or it could have someone learn something that they didn't know before. Yeah. But for the most part, we're just kind of a couple of goofballs.
A couple of idiots.
Sometimes we have people on that are also goofballs.
Yeah.
And we just sort of ball it. We just ball each other.
Yeah. We just get all up in each other's goofballs.
Yeah.
And
verbally, ladies.
Yeah. Just really gargle it down.
Yeah,
A little verbal gargling of each other's goofballs. I was going to say something.
I'm sure it was very poignant.
No, never is.
Yeah,
never is.
Kind of goofy and bally.
But no, it's just, yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm just talking
to me.
Well, I mean, obviously that's what it is, but I mean, I'd like to know that
other people listen to us.
There's other people out there that are actually listening. And I know we do have some listeners, so it's like, let's interact a little bit. Let's interact. Let's do some back and forth.
Show yourself. Yeah, and maybe
show yourselves.
Maybe since we have all those social platforms, and you know what? Maybe people don't listen to that tag at the end that lists all the places to reach us because it's at the end.
Yeah, it's in the notes too. But
it's in the notes. But I don't know about you, but I never read podcast show notes. I don't.
I read everything. I'm thorough.
Okay,
it takes me a long time, but I read it.
Let's just call you Justin Thorough.
I don't just willy-nilly accept terms and conditions. I read through that shit.
I don't believe that. But maybe it's because of that. So I'm just wondering if maybe there's a place that like Discord where you can be part of the server and you can just chat in that sort of group and reach us there and we can respond there. Maybe that's a better place that would actually generate some type of activity and interaction.
Yeah. Or do we get like one of those Google phone numbers and then we can give that out and people can text us?
Could they call us with it? Although we couldn't put them on air with that if they were calling in, could they? Well, if you get your phone hooked up to your thing, maybe that would play through that. But then here's what I was wondering.
But I wouldn't be able to hear it.
That's what I was thinking. Unless
I have to hook my headphones through the
mine is
thing.
So if I had my phone hooked up, I could maybe hear what is being on there, but you might not hear it. I don't know how that would all work. We'd have to test it. But let's throw out the Discord idea as well.
There's a million things we can do.
Yeah, I know. Again, we don't promote ourselves. We don't put clips of our shows out on social media.
Yeah, we need to start putting out clips.
Well, here's my question to you.
Which I don't want to ask you to do way more work, but I know while you're editing, you could cut a little clip out and throw it up on socials.
Well, here's my question to you. Because, I know you did that trial once of that program where it had the word
Opus Clip.
How do you think it's crucial that the words pop up on the screen as they're being spoken like everybody does? Or do you think people don't need that for it to be?
People don't need it. It's
because I'm sitting there going like, well, if it doesn't do that, then no one's going to, care about it.
No, I don't think it's vital that it has that. I think.
Well, I could say this though. I mean, since the episodes go up on YouTube, both you or I could easily just quickly nab a clip off of that. And it's not just on me.
But it's not as easy for me. I don't have any editing programs. I don't have editing software to cut a clip and put it up.
You don't. That's true. I guess it would all depend on how we want it to look. Well, we'll have to figure it out. But the bigger thing is
that, or I can pay for a fucking yearly subscription to Opus Clip, which is another $100 and something bucks.
I don't think. No, if we're on the edge of going like, does anybody even listen to this?
I'm always on the edge.
I wouldn't say. Oh yeah, you're edging. I wouldn't say that we are. It would not be a good move to dump a good amount of money in something like that, unless you could find unless you have other uses for it for yourself. Should this show not? No. Yeah. So why do that? Why do that?
I mean, I can use it. You get 60 free credits a month. You can select chunks of a video that you want it to make clips of. It can make those clips. And then, but the problem is that you have very limited editing ability of those clips. So a lot of times, because of the format of what our videos look like, a lot of times it looks like shit.
True.
So you'd want to be able to change the formatting and things like that so that it doesn't cut it all weird and shit. So, I mean, I do have a few. I did start using it again recently to see what I could get from it. And I've got a couple little clips from like 200th episode that I could like shoot towards you and see what you think of them. But
okay.
I don't know. Well,
Anyway,
we got to try to be more onto the socials somehow. I don't know. Fuck it.
I'm not
frustrating.
I've never been good at it, so I'm not going to all of a sudden be good at it now.
No,
anyway,
and I'm sure if we wanted to be huge and crazy and big, we would have had to put a bunch of money up front at the beginning and pay somebody to do all this shit for us.
Yeah. Do we know anyone that has nothing going on that they could do some of this for us pro bono? Like post stuff on socials for us on our behalf?
Mikey's the only person that I know that doesn't. I wouldn't say he doesn't have anything going on,
right?
But
he's
probably the most free person we know.
Yeah, but I don't think we can rely on. Anyway, I don't know what happened to this episode. It kind of turned into a weird like crisis mode, but
it's not that bad.
Hey, everyone.
We're just bitching a little bit. Let us bitch a little bit.
Yeah,
this is some more BTS shit, and it's just some frustration. We want this to be better, and we're frustrated a little bit. We just want to hear from the people who listen to this. That's kind of, to me, honestly, that's kind of the main thing. Is just like, I just want a little bit of interaction. It can be one or two fucking people. I don't give a shit.
No,
just,
to me,
let's interact.
Like not even kidding. That's the big thing for me too. Is just
just something. Just a little something.
Know if anyone's enjoying this.
Yeah,
that's all.
And if you know us personally, don't just text us and say you like the show. Fucking interact with our socials, you sons of bitches.
Yeah. We text you for other shit. We say very specific things about the show you like. Point out the times that you think I'm way funnier than Matt is. I know, which is probably like all the time, but
I want to say that'd be pretty easy because it'd be a very few times that it would come up.
That I'm more
that you're funnier. Those things would really stick out in people's heads. I think they'd be like, "Oh, I know the exact moment it was because it barely ever happens."
That time he finally did it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Point out the 2 or 3 times in the run of the show that you think that happened, and then I will go, I don't remember those. Yeah. Do it though. Don't stop. Here's my campaign slogan.
It was those couple of bad newses that you did that were pretty funny. That was about it.
That was my peak on the show. But this is my campaign slogan. Yeah. Stop not doing it. Like not interacting with us.
Yeah.
I had to.
I got it.
Yeah.
A little double negative.
That is what it is.
Yeah. It is what it is. I mean, that's what this podcast is. This podcast, it is what it is.
It's a double negative. It's you and I together. We cancel each other out. We're
and
improper.
you and ITY. It's a unity.
How many times am I funnier than you? You said very little, and you close with that.
It's a. I didn't close with that.
We're
still recording.
You paused, like waiting for.
I was pausing, waiting for you to acknowledge that I stole
someone else's saying
Queen Latifah reference on the show.
Hopefully the first of several
Queen Latifah references.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I could go for a while.
Yeah, not now.
Should I bring up?
Space them out like one. Space them out like the ghost turkey gobble.
Okay, I'll try to bring another. I'll try to bring a Queen Latifah reference to every episode going forward.
If that isn't enough of a reason to listen and reach out, you can reach out to us and say, please, for the love of God, Matt, don't do that Queen Latifah bit. I will shoot my children. That will know you listen.
That's gonna make me want to do it more.
I mean, I'm sure it's an empty threat. I'm sure that's not
worth it.
I'm sure the gun has blanks.
Boring.
Unless it's Alec Baldwin movie set.
I think it still had a blank in it. It just had it was trapped in the chamber or something. Same thing that happened to Brandon Lee.
Oh, I guess I didn't understand.
A squib got caught in the chamber.
A squid.
Squib. I believe is what it's called.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. But it got caught in the chamber. It wasn't proper. The gun was not properly maintained by a professional gunsmith or whatever the fuck they call them.
Because the way that it was
gungineer, I don't know what they're called.
The way that back when the incident on the set of The Crow occurred. Obviously, we were much younger, and because it was described to me as
guns were much younger back then.
Guns were much younger and more erratic back then, unpredictable.
Yeah, more willing to just go off for no reason.
Yeah. But it was just
much like a young boy.
It was said that there was accidentally like bullets in one of them. Like that's how it was said to me.
It wasn't.
So clearly,
there was no bullets in the gun.
Clearly, whoever said that to me also had a misunderstanding about what really happened.
Yeah.
So I was not aware of that.
It was a blank firing gun, but there was a
squib.
Squib, I think, is what it's called. Some sort of a cartridge that was still that was still chambered or whatever. So when they fired another round, that's what flew out as a projectile and ended up killing him later on.
Right.
At the hospital.
Right.
Mm-hmm,
oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, and then they recently made a new Crow movie.
They did.
Which looked awful for one, and two got bad reviews. So I'm assuming it was.
I mean, did you, I don't know. I mean, this is another thing. This is just going forever if we go into stuff like this. But has there been a remake that's been good? I mean,
of anything?
I don't know how that. I'm not sure how that Roadhouse did. The Jake Gyllenhaal Roadhouse movie. But I never saw the original to be able to compare, so I never.
I mean, the original is
awful,
just 80s glory.
Gotcha.
It is like as a kid seeing it, it was like, oh yeah, it's fucking like action movie, cool. As an adult watching it, it's like this movie's pretty funny.
Okay,
because it's not supposed to be
because of how 80s it is.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I think you'd enjoy it for all of its 80s glory.
Okay.
It's pretty ridiculous. The villains are just outrageous. Maybe good stuff.
Maybe
good stuff.
Based on the success of my one movie reaction, maybe I'll do that one next.
Yeah, or there's just another. It's been a while since we've had a Sean movie review on the show.
See, that's what I was kind of hoping it could do. Is it could be in tandem. Like I could do it, the reaction film, and also talk about it on the show. But
the thing is like. The movies you're going to want to react to for your YouTube channel are going to be probably like better movies, like movies that people are interested in seeing what your reaction is to it.
But Roadhouse,
on this show, I want to give you the worst fucking movies ever to watch.
Oh, sure.
Because I want you to come into it and just be like, because I want to, I just want to see your thoughts of just the ridiculous shit.
Then we'll do different things. So, but Roadhouse could be one that crosses over into both things.
True, yeah. Because I mean, well, you did Die Hard on here too, and you still found things that were ridiculous. The whole walkie-talkie thing and whatnot, and stuff like that. That I like to see that you come in and just picking things apart. Just picking stuff is what is funny to me on this. So I'll come up with a list of. Because there's already been a couple of movies that I've wanted you to.
That's another thing,
Because I mentioned Beastmaster, which is a god-awful movie.
That's right. Okay.
And I think that's another one where it's 80s fucking like barbarian garbage movie. It's fantastic. It did not hold up as an adult.
This last Friday at the Gilbertson household, we played a little Munchkin.
Wow.
And, Josh's oldest son won because the three kids, my son and his two sons, all seemed to sort of team up and they were always just helping each other out with battling monsters.
Of course.
So then Jack just advanced until he got to the end. Even when I pointed out, guys, if you help him on this one, he wins. He's going to win. So they're like, oh, wait a minute. So they, but Josh and I just weren't drawing any monsters. Like we'd kick in the door and it would be some other thing. Like I faced one monster the whole game and it was toward the very beginning when everybody was still on space number 1. And one of his kids decided he wanted to make it so that the monster's level was above mine and I lost. For some reason, he just immediately wanted to go in and stop me from defeating that monster. Yeah. And I didn't draw a single monster after that.
It can be a very fickle game.
Yeah. I know.
From my experience of never winning the game I own. Yeah.
I was looking up places I can watch Beastmaster, but if any, I could find places to watch it. Maybe
I say your living room. UNITY.
Some other little Queen Latifah phrase.
That's a unity.
Okay, well, we'll see you.
Yeah.
Just reach out to us. We'll see you next Tuesday. Or just reach out to us.
Yep.
For real, though. I mean, for real.
Yep.
Do we need a shorter email address? Do we need like HSF pod email instead of highschoolfamous at Gmail? Like, do we need to do that? Will that make it?
To just be like,
yeah. Who's the Gmail?
Just hi.com.
Well, no, I'm sure that's
or
taken.
Hi at Gmail.
That's probably taken, I imagine. The word hi as in high up and also just hello, like
or
hi.
just like the first two letters of each word.
Highschoolfamous.
Oh yeah, highschoolfamous.
Highschoolfamous. Anyway, I tried to end this, so let's see you next Tuesday.
Yep.
Bye.
Yep. Bye.
If you have a question, complaint, or threat for Sean or Matt, you can reach us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, or Instagram at HSFamousPod, or you can email the show at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. No animals were pleasured during the making of this podcast, despite our best efforts. All hail our Lord and Savior.
Well, I like when my cat's in my lap because it makes my legs feel warm, and so I want to recreate that experience with my vomit.